It's not good. It's great.
Like super good.
Yeah.
Like Gatorade in a powder form.
It's funny that you mention it. It was created by the maker of Gatorade. There's a whole story on the back. Let me find it here. Dr. J. Robert Cade, the inventor of Gatorade, invented cholesterol, which is all natural, tastes great.
It does. I love it.
The fiber that you need.
I'm taking it. It's going with
you
me.
Can have that because you're a guest here. All right? And then share it with all your friends. Make sure you let all your friends on Broadway know, because when you're up on stage, everything's got to be clear.
That's right. That's right.
Clear mind.
You need electrolytes. Got to keep going.
You
need your cholesterol.
And, exactly. So there you go.
Excellent.
I give what flavor you got? You got the delicious mixed fruit flavor? That's really good.
Yes, that's the one I got. Is that what this is?
Look, it's great. It's doctor recommended, 100% vegan and gluten-free.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm glad you like that.
And it helps your cholesterol. Fantastic.
And that's what we're here to do. Tell us what you're up to. What brings you to the Big Fat American Radio Show studios?
Well, I'm getting ready to do my most recent is Rockers on Broadway, which is it's our 26th year. It's a benefit concert that supports arts education for underprivileged kids, and Broadway KEHR's Equity Fights AIDS.
Right, that's a very important program, which I've been doing stuff with equity for a long time now. I've been in equity now for 45 years, so it's been my life. I've done 8 Broadway shows and. I've been doing theater my whole life. So I started this thing called Rockers on Broadway based on an idea from Pete Townsend when we were doing Tommy on Broadway. I was in Tommy. And, really? What part did you play?
I sang Pinball Wizard.
Sure plays a mean pinball.
Ever since I was a young boy.
Can I tell you a little story about that?
Sure.
My mom took me to see the Tommy Boy in the movies.
Oh, Tommy Boy or Tommy?
No, I went and saw Tommy Boy.
But
my mom took me to see Tommy.
Okay.
When it was out in the movies, Elton John was the pinball wizard in the scene.
Yeah.
Big Elton John fan. So I had to see that.
Did.
All right, you did that part? Mm-hmm. Do you know when I was little, I thought the Who's version was the Italian version. And the Elton John was the real version because it sounded like, sure plays to me in a pin of ball. Like that, because you grow up in the neighborhood. Yeah. I could have sworn when I was a little kid, that's how dumb I was. Like, hey, Dad, is that the Italian version? I was like, what are you talking about? That's the Who, Tommy. No, get over here.
Well, then, I'll tell you the truth. Here's the true story, is that when Elton did it, he said, I want my band to play it, and I want to do my own arrangement of it.
Well,
so that's why
Elton John, one thing about him, I know that he's always been loyal to his bandmates.
Yes.
Always. His entire career, he never excluded them, which
that's right.
It's you don't see that too often.
That's
so
right.
You actually met Pete Townsend back in the day. Tell us that story.
Okay. I met him in 1992, when we were doing the Who's Tommy at La Jolla Playhouse. And we met, and we got on well, and then we came to New York and opened in 93. On Broadway, and it became a big old hit. And I got to say that if it wasn't for Tommy opening the doors.
Tommy Boy? Yeah.
Not Tommy Boy. But if it wasn't for the Who's Tommy, rock and roll would not be on Broadway as it is now.
You know what's interesting about that album is he had the concept of doing this rock opera, and one of the early critics, I think, worked for Rolling Stone, wasn't really into it, but it turned out that the same critic was a big fan of pinball games. So Peter right away goes, well, I'll just do a thing about pinballs.
It was the last song written for the record.
Right, and that was the difference maker for the whole album.
Right.
The guy gave it, this is incredible, because he figured out that he could put that character in.
Well, I think what happens is he read it, he said, this is, he went to they performed in a studio, and they invited this guy, and he was like
I think
an
his
uncle. He was like close to them. They were very, very close to this guy, and he went in, and Pete said, "So what do you think?" He went, "Well, it's okay, but you need something else that's different, that's going to make it interesting. Otherwise, it's kind of like depressing."
Well, that is true.
And so they so then he's I don't know, maybe he's a great pinball player, and so. That's when Pete took it and rode with it, and that was it. He wrote that song.
So we got to how Rockers on Broadway came about.
Yes.
Did we finish that story? Because I have a...
No,
all right, well, finish the story.
Quickly.
Give us the rest of the story.
Here's the rest of the story. In 93, when we opened on Broadway, Pete asked me, he said, let's put the band together, some musicians from the orchestra, and let's get the cast to come out and sing in a club with me, and I'll play with you guys. But I want these Broadway types to understand my side of the world so that they could give that energy that I have with, rock and roll into the show. And so we did, and it was a blast. It was a great fun. And then Rockers on Broadway sprung from that idea, and we've been going every year now for 26 years.
So what's the theme for this year?
70s.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what are some of the characters that are part of the 70s?
The 70s. We're doing Zeppelin. We're doing The Who. We're going to do...
Donna Summers?
We're going to do a little Donna Summer in there.
Yeah, Donna Summer, sorry. Yes.
We're going to add also... let's see. Oh, my gosh. I wasn't
Donnie KEHR is thinking about the other rock acts from the 70s.
Zeppelin, we've got Queen.
We got Rolling Stones.
We've got Rolling Stones.
Elton John.
Okay. Billy Joel.
John Lennon.
Silence.
Okay. All right.
No, we don't have John Lennon yet, but it might change.
I can make that happen.
I you know what? Now that you mention it,
I'll give a call to Yoko and say, "Come on,
let's go.
Let's do this." Yeah. I was up in the apartment one time.
I have a story about that.
You go first with your John Lennon story.
Here's my John Lennon story. I heard the shots.
Oh God!
And I went downstairs. I was the first person in front of the Dakota.
That's not a good story.
It's a sad story.
That's a horrible story.
Today's
17. His birthday.
I was 17 years old. I heard the shots. I went downstairs and I saw them putting him in the police car. And taking him out, and then killer after him. And I remember I was 17 years old, and I remember this like so distinctly. I actually wrote on my blog about it, but the thing is that I remember when I got there, the doorman was in complete shock. I said, "What happened? What happened?" He goes, "He's gone. He's gone. John Lennon is gone." And I just, my heart dropped, and I was like, "Holy shit! I didn't realize." Excuse me, I didn't mean to say that.
No, that's all right.
But I couldn't. It broke my heart, of course. But then what happens? And the news crews started showing up. And this guy came over and he says, "Hey, did you see it?" I said, "No, but I heard the shots and I ran down to see what was going on." And then I got interviewed on the news that night, and I saw it on TV. But it didn't. That wasn't the point. The point was that it was just devastating. It totally changed my life.
I've never talked to. Well, let me rephrase it. I've never talked to anyone about this subject who is actually a witness to what happened, except I took a course at St. John's University where one of the lead detectives was in the instructor telling me that he was at the autopsy. But you're the first person I've ever talked to in my entire career that actually was on the scene at the time.
Right there. I was the first person there. Pretty crazy. And here's what's wild. There was another gentleman there, and his name was Lyle. I remember his name was Lyle. And I remember it was weird because I met this guy years later. And we met through a friend, and he says, "Oh yeah," he goes, "Wait a minute," and and he remembered me from that night.
Well, yeah,
and he said, "You were the one." I'm like, what? He goes, "No, do you remember when Lennon got?" He goes, "I came over to you and I asked you, did you see what happened?" And you said, "No, I just heard the shots." And then the news crews came around because he had said, "Hey, this guy heard the shots," and so they came around me. It was pretty crazy. And then I met him years later. And it was just ironic that I had that moment and that he would remember me from that thing. I mean, it's...
What happened after that? Were you interviewed by any of the police officers?
No. I had just gotten interviewed by Fox News, I believe it was. And then, I mean, here I'm 17. What happens after I did the interview, my mom had come down and said, "Get back in here, come back." Because I lived at the Olcott Hotel, which was 2 doors down, but my bedroom overlooked the courtyard
of the Dakota. Yeah,
and so when I heard these shots, my mom ran in my room and said, "Did you hear that?" I said, "Yeah," and we turned on the radio and said, "John Lennon's been shot." I ran down, and I was there, and literally, I see the doorman, I see them putting him in the car, they took him away, And I'm standing there for that 1 or 2 minutes. It seemed like slow motion. Everything was in slow motion because suddenly the world stopped for me. It was just
stopped for everybody.
Devastating. Like, what happened? And I couldn't believe it because I had met him on the street like a month before. He was walking down the street with Yoko, and I asked him for his autograph.
Affable, right?
Yeah, very sweet. I asked him for his autograph. He goes, well, have you got a pen? And I said, no. He goes, well, when you get a pen, I'll give you an autograph.
Well, yeah.
You know?
And it happened earlier in the day that Mark David Chapman asked for an autograph, and there's a photo of that.
So creepy.
So after the shooting takes place, you run downstairs, you see John Lennon's going into the ambulance towards St. Luke's Hospital.
They actually put him in a police car.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yes, they had to get him there quickly.
Right. So they put him in the police car, and then they put
you saw
killer,
David,
David Chapman, and they put him in the second car. So they had 2 police cars that showed up. The first one took John Lennon to the hospital. The second one took the asshole. And I guess they took him away. So
yeah, I feel sorry for Yoko because every so often he comes up for parole, and she's got to relive the whole thing over and over again. And there's something I know about that kind of situation, which we won't talk about now, firsthand. Yeah. You know, it's just any time that the perpetrator, the criminal, the assailant,
is up for parole.
Yeah, it just tears open all the old wounds. Or anytime they interview that person and make a sensational story out of him, it's horrible.
Sure.
But, you know, this is an important story in rock and roll history to actually have somebody that was there when it happened. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm getting like the chills down because it just brings you back to that moment in time.
It's a moment I'll never forget. But what happened was after I did the interview thing, my mom came down and said, come back because I'm worried. So I went back home, went upstairs, and then like an hour later, there were thousands of people.
Oh my gosh, there,
you know?
That's right.
And I didn't go back down after that. I was like, no, that's it. I was upstairs, you know, bawling because it was just heartbreaking because he was so kind and so available. He just wanted to be he was like a normal guy. You know?
I like the stories where he would, when he had the rock and roll album out.
Yeah.
He was walking around in his raccoon cap, and he had the album. It wasn't released yet at Corvettes, and he had it underneath his arm, and he knocked on the door of NEW, brought up the album with Scott Muni, and they played it from beginning to end.
Wow.
And I just so happened, I was listening at the time. I'm like, I can't believe what's going on.
Wow.
That made me want to be a disc jockey where, all right, let me get this straight. So you're on the radio just talking to people, saying awful things. And John Lennon, out of nowhere, who's all of a sudden a friend of yours, comes up with his album, and you play it before anybody else, and you're talking about all the songs, which rock and roll album, I think, is a really good album from John Lennon. Sure. I think that's a must-have if you're a classic rock fan, right?
Sure.
So then Scott would tell me some of the stories, and eventually I'd go over to the Dakota and do some interviews on my own with Yoko, and I'll just keep it at that. But Scott one time was having dinner, and Sean broke his arm.
Okay.
So Scott was there, Yoko's there, Sean is there. And so Sean goes to Scott, yeah, can you help me? And he thought that Sean meant, can Scott help him get into radio?
Right.
No, I don't need help in the radio. I need you to help cut my meat.
Oh, my
so
God.
Scott actually, isn't that a great story?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a simple little story. And Scott would tell me, and I'm like, you know what, Fats? That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
anyway,
awesome.
Let's talk about Rockers on Broadway, and thank you for sharing that intimate story. That's probably
never
something
to say it, but
I I can see like it was a cathartic thing. You have to get that out sometimes.
Totally.
And it really, it I guess, in many ways, it reminds all of us how fragile life is. Like you
never know.
Gone like that.
You never know.
So make the most out of it.
That's right.
And since you're on the planet, you might as well do the best you can for others,
That's
right? Not always worry about yourself. And this is why I like Rockers on Broadway and the work that you do and the people that you reach out to.
We help. We have a company, a non-for-profit called the Path Fund.
Okay.
Pathfund.org. And what it is it stands for Performing Artists That Help. And
that's great.
Is we give kids a chance to find their artistic path, and that's our mission. And we've done quite well. Out of about 100 kids I've scholarshiped, probably maybe 17 or 18 of them are working on Broadway now.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's
because it's really, I would let me just so anybody listening can understand the numbers. Mm-hmm. When I was going through broadcast school, all right, there might have been 30 or 40 of us.
Okay,
I am the only one out of that class from the mid '80s that's actually working.
Yeah,
out of people I started with in this industry, I think I'm the only one that's still working. I mean, like the only one that found a way to stay in the business after 30 years. Wow. So it is, the numbers are against you. So it's important to have these programs like Path, Path.org. Yeah, it's good. PathFund. Is it, what's the address?
Yeah, it's Path. It's the PathFund.org.
Got you. So this theme is
rockersonbroadway.com.
Got it. And you can get tickets for the event.
Yes, you can.
Which is coming up in November?
November 11th. Monday, November 11th.
That's my anniversary.
Perfect. I'll see you there.
It's my 20th anniversry.
Wow, congratulations. Yeah. Wow, you lasted that long.
Again, I finish it to the end.
Yeah, I've
been in radio. I'll be in it till I die.
Anyway, but it's a great. You know what? Here it is. We bring rock and roll people, rock and roll legends and stars, and Broadway legends and stars together to celebrate this. First of all, it's for the kids. We do it all for the kids, and we have a great time doing it because there's a lot of Broadway people out there that have a rock and roll heart, but they never get a chance to actually do it.
Yeah,
and we give them that outlet to do it.
And let me say this about if you were to say, what would be your choice, Zach, besides being on the radio? I like being on the radio. Sure. I have a passion for it. But if you were to ask me whether I wanted to be a TV actor, a movie actor, or a Broadway star, I'd pick Broadway star. Wow. And you know why?
No.
Broadway people, I think, out of all of them, are the most talented.
Well, we work the hardest.
You work the hardest. It's physical, so there's physicality. You have to be almost athletic. Yes. You have to watch what you eat, and you have to drink cholesterol every day.
That's right.
Like how I did that?
Nice. Good plug, man.
You have to be able to dance, sing, and act, and memorize the stuff. And every time you do the same show, you got to pretend like it's the first time you've ever done it.
Right.
You got to pretend like it's brand new each time. And
because everybody's got a new experience when they come.
Much like every time I repeat some of the same songs I'll play, I'll pretend like it's brand new every time. Oh, this is a great song. Sometimes as a joke. Brand new from Foreigner.
Yeah. Hey, man. Excellent.
When was the
Let's hear it.
It's amazing how many times I'll talk to other rockers who never heard certain songs. So, when they finally get around to hearing it, it's brand new from them. This is great. It's November 11th. And where is it going to take place?
At Le Poisson Rouge on Bleecker Street.
Oh, great.
The old Village Gate.
Yeah, it's a nice, intimate place. So you're going to be right up there with all the actors.
The actors and musicians. We have a great band. Our band is all from different shows that I've worked on, like Tommy.
Okay, so tell me some of the names of the guys. Give me the bass player. Nobody ever talks about the bass player.
Wow, I love you. His name's Gary. We did the show Aida together.
Oh, good.
His name's Gary Bristol.
Oh, yeah.
Guitar player, a guy named John Putnam, who I worked with on Tommy. He was the original guitar too on Tommy.
See, that he must be an amazing guitar player because that is a tough score.
Oh, yeah, he's ridiculous. Yeah.
Okay.
And let's see, my drummer is a guy named John Clancy, who
wrote those novels.
No, it's not.
Well, listen, drummers are usually the smartest guy in the band.
Oh my God! Well, he did a lot of the musical arrangements for Mean Girls, the show Mean Girls. And he's a really talented dude. My keyboard player is a guy named Steve Hoops Snyder.
I like
who
that.
Who was the original keyboard player for Jersey Boys.
Okay.
A sax player guy by the name of Jay Leslie. Who's with the Tokens? Remember the Tokens?
Oh, yeah. The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
That's right. Yes. That's right.
Bop, bop.
Ba-dum.
Yep.
That's right. I have an amazing band.
You have to throw an oboe in there.
Yeah.
Got to find an oboe player.
Well, actually, I've got a great trombone player.
Okay, they can
who does all my chart work. His name is Joseph Snyder, and he's great.
Good.
And then a violinist named Jonathan Dinklage, who's actually Peter Dinklage's brother.
Peter,
yeah, the guy from Game of Thrones.
That guy,
that guy.
Yeah.
But Peter,
you like how I played along like I knew what you were talking about?
Did, yeah.
No idea.
He's an Emmy Award winner. Come on.
I don't care. I don't watch that.
Well,
stuff.
Anyway, his brother's a badass musician, and his name's Jonathan Dinklage. Anyway, we have some great people joining us this year. I just got the word that because we're honoring Russ Titleman, great record producer, who produced James Taylor, Eric Clapton, Ricky Lee Jones, Steve Winwood's Back on the High Life.
Yeah, that Roll With It and all of that stuff.
No, I don't think he did Roll With It, but he did Bring Me a Higher Love.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like the drumming in that one.
Yeah, and he produced Eric Clapton's song "Tears in Heaven."
Oh gosh, that's a classic,
classic,
instant classic.
Yeah, and he also produced "Shower the People" for James Taylor. And he's done a lot of work, and we're giving him a Lifetime Achievement Award.
And LaChance.
And LaChance.
LaChance.
No, not LaChance. Her name is LaChance.
And David,
it's all because of
David.
He messed you up. It's LaChance.
He comes in a French hat.
I know.
And then screws up my French.
He goes, LaChance.
LaChance.
Yes, LaChance is an amazing talent.
Parlez-vous français? Oui, monsieur.
She's a Tony winner.
All right.
And an amazing singer.
Oh, the Donna Summer Show.
Yes,
I've been hearing lots of
Summer
good stuff about that one.
She did that, and now she's getting ready to do A Christmas Carol. So a new version of it on Broadway.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Who's going to be Scrooge?
I think I forget his name. He's an actor. Can't remember.
Of course,
right
he's
now.
an actor.
Oh, he was in that movie with.
That movie.
Yeah, that
Tommy
one.
Boy.
No.
We're back to that again.
Big guy in a little coat.
Fat guy in a little coat. He wouldn't be so fat if he took his cholesterol.
That's right.
And by the way, it does help you lose weight.
You are on it, dude. You're amazing.
Oh man, I got to get on Broadway. I got to do at least one cameo. I did a cameo for Hair. That was a mistake.
Oh, you know what we used to do with Jersey Boys.
You'd have the disc jockeys do a little.
Well, we did, but But what we had is we had people who would donate to Broadway Cares. We would bring them as a stand-in, and
that's cool.
When Frankie is singing at one of the clubs, they'd come and they'd sit on the stage.
Yeah,
and
that's
sit at one
good.
Of the chairs. So we did that, and that was fun.
I can play the disc jockey. I got fired from CBS FM.
That's right.
Fired.
That's
from.
right. Yeah.
Fired from CBS FM 101.1.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there you
Actually,
go.
the original guy that's based on is oh my God, why am I losing his name?
Because you don't have enough cholesterol. It would
must be.
probably make you think a lot.
Yes.
Get you some more. We'll make sure that you get a parting gift.
But anyway, yeah. So we've done a lot of good stuff with the charity.
Right. I'm sorry for throwing you off there.
That's okay.
Just
took me on a
talk in
little path.
circles, whatever. Because one of the talking points it says that you have a colorful Broadway background, and I think I got that out of you without even asking the question.
Did you say colorful? Colorful?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You ever played a clown on Broadway?
No.
Yeah.
I play a clown every day in my life, but other than that, no. Nope, never played a clown on Broadway. I've played a clown. Well, cannot really. I played accordion.
That's
on
interesting.
Broadway.
That is really a difficult instrument.
You know what? I didn't realize how difficult it was until I had to do it. I did the show Billy Elliot on Broadway, and they said, "Hey, listen, there's this one number. Would you mind playing accordion?"
Billy Elliot was an Irish guy, right? The character?
No, he was a Northern Geordie. He was British, not.
All right, well, close enough.
But
from the British Isles, right?
From the north,
like Scotland, something like that.
Well, almost. No, it was like they say like time like.
Like what the end is over.
Instead of saying ballet, they say ballet. They say bally.
Gotcha. All right, so yeah.
Anyway, that was accordion.
I'll help you. I can coach you on the accordion.
Bring me.
You have to drink some Irish whiskey before you play it.
With cholesterol.
There you go. That's right. Or
that's the key.
I suggest being part Russian vodka.
But see, with Jersey Boys, though, here's the thing. You said earlier that in order to do theater, you need to be an actor, a singer, a dancer. Yes, that's all true. But when we did Jersey Boys, I played 3 instruments on that show. So I'm also
an instrumentalist.
Yes. So I played drums and I played guitar.
Right.
And I played a little keyboard. But we all had to play our instruments back then.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right.
It got me in the musicians union. That was fun.
Oh, that's good. So how many unions are you in? I'm in 2.
I'm in 4.
Really?
Yeah.
After SAG, what are you?
After SAG, 802 AGBA.
All right. Maybe I can join one of the other ones. Hey,
man, come on. Just, I'll give you a pair of drumsticks.
You know what else would be? I kind of would like to be in charge of the set chains. changing of the sets?
Oh, that's Local One.
Yeah?
That's just your.
I heard they pay a lot of good money.
Local One makes great money. They do real well there. Yeah,
get me in the Local One.
Yeah, I know. I know a guy.
I'd appreciate.
I know a guy.
We all know guys.
We
okay,
got some
and
guys.
let me just so if you're listening and you're not from the New York, New Jersey area, when we ask you how you doing, we don't care how you're doing. It's just a way of saying hi.
Exactly.
We don't want the report.
Right.
So what's something that, besides the John Lennon story, nobody probably knew about that, but what's one thing that nobody really knows about you that, maybe like, when did you realize that Led Zeppelin was a cover band?
I'll tell you the truth.
I knew it.
I'm going to tell you. Here we go. Here's my experience with my first hearing Led Zeppelin. I was 6 years old,
trouble,
7
man.
years old. No, you got me. I was 7 years old, and my brother.
Let me just say, Robert Plant hates when I do that.
Well,
Go ahead.
My brother brought me in. He goes, "Oh my God, you got to listen to this new record, dude. Check it out." So he goes, and I'm a baby, and he puts on "Whole Lotta Love," right? But you know the midsection of "Whole Lotta Love" where it's like,
yeah, where he's playing with the guitar and the bow.
Yes, exactly. I started to cry. I got scared. I thought something was going to happen. I thought the devil was in the record player. I thought I was going to be, completely killed.
Now, since you brought it up, the bow idea came from a guitar player with a group called The Creation.
Wow.
So that's where Jimmy Page got that.
He stole
Whole
it.
Lotta Love is Willie Dixon. Well, he didn't really steal it. Yeah. You know what they say? It's my interpretation. Right?
Yeah,
so that's how they cover
exactly.
that, my interpretation. Amazing. So that first album are all Willie Dixon songs that they cover. Okay, and I caught on pretty quick. I'm like, oh, but it's brilliantly covered. Which makes it completely different because they took those songs, and much like when you have Jimi Hendrix playing All Along the Watchtower, you think that that's Jimmy's, not Bob's.
That's right.
That's right. So sometimes if you do it the right way, you make it your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I always ask that question to people who really follow rock because I always get, you don't know what kind of answer you're going to get.
Right.
Some rockers that you think would know better, I did not know that those were cover songs. I'm like, what kind of idiot are you?
God.
You were trying too hard to write all these songs when you could have just appropriated them and interpreted them.
So going back to your question,
you doing?
How you doing? How would people know me, or what you said? You asked me.
What's
that
one thing that you've
that I've done that people might
don't
know?
Yeah.
All right. So, one would be I sang Pinball Wizard and Tommy.
Okay.
Right? The second one would be I created a role of a guy named Norm Waxman in the show Jersey Boys.
Okay.
And then I did the movie for Clint Eastwood, and which was amazing. I remember my 50th birthday, my first day of shooting with Christopher Walken. Walking. We were walking. So I go up to I go up to Clint and I say, "Clint, thank you for this birthday present." He goes, "It's your birthday." He goes, how old are you? I said, "I'm 50. I'm getting old." And he took a second and he looked at me and he goes, "Don't let the old man in.
Watch Gran Torino. You want to be this guy."
Watch. He said,
That would be my advice.
But
watch this. Don't be him.
It's my birthday, and I'm like with Clint Eastwood, and he says, and I said, "I'm getting old," and he said, "Don't let the old man in." And that was like a mantra for me, and still to this day, every time it's my birthday, which was last month, I had to remember that because he was, look, he's still kicking butt.
Yeah, but what really annoys me is when they do the fake news that he's dead.
I know. I hate that stuff.
What is that?
They do that with a lot of people.
How about when somebody died a few years ago?
And
Rest in peace, Abe Vigoda. I'm like,
and he's been gone 10 years.
The guy's dust already. Stop doing that. It's upsetting everybody.
He's rested in peace already.
I just told my grandpa he's still alive. Now look what you've done. Oh. All right, Donnie KEHR.
Yes, sir.
Did I say the last name correctly?
You did.
Oh, I got LaChance.
Yes, LaChance is right. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks anyway, David.
Yes.
And Donnie KEHR. So we got Rockers on Broadway. Tickets are available now. The ticket prices range from They range from
say $25 to $500.
Yeah. So the $500 tickets
are the best.
Right in front.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. There's nothing better than being at a Broadway show in the front row, no matter what the show is, because well, you can screw with the actors.
Yeah, well,
you know
not only that, but the best thing about being in the front row is in Rockers on Broadway.
And not laugh when they do a terrible joke. I mean, I've like ruined some shows just to screw around.
You're the guy that I
Bette
hate
Midler,
when it comes to
Bette
shows,
Midler wouldn't
right?
even shake my hand.
Oh, my God.
I saw Hello, Dolly, sat in the front row for Anastasia, which was really good.
Mm-hmm. I loved Anastasia. It was great.
I brought my wife to, where was that, the Full Monty?
Yeah.
I didn't need to see that.
No. That's a little close.
Yeah, I
the
don't
thing is that
need
being in the front row at a Broadway show is what you're going to get. You're going to get spit on.
Yes, I noticed that. You get all the actors sweat
because they're all
over
like,
you.
And you're like, oh, God. Yeah. So bring an umbrella.
That happened to me. Uh-huh. And I went to, my one friend is kind of a little, I don't know, he's, how do I say it? Puritan.
Okay.
Or puritanical. Okay.
Okay.
It's okay. It's
I'll go with
fine.
that.
All right. It's cool. It's who he is.
Yeah.
All right. I'm more like, whatever.
Right.
So, now I never really made a face or did anything to throw somebody. I would never do that.
Sure.
First of all, those tickets are insanely expensive.
Yes.
So I have a good time. Pay attention.
Right.
I clap and stuff like that. But during Hello, Dolly, whatever we were laughing at, it was like Larry David and the scene with the freak book.
Mm-hmm.
And it just didn't go. We were totally, and because we were laughing, we really lost it.
Oh.
So
did she say anything?
Well, she missed me when I went to high five. But then we were in Chicago, right up in the front row.
Right.
And you know how they have the one guy who's in his leather? They're all dancing.
Okay.
There's all these dancing girls.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I know the show.
Disgusting. I go, focus on the girls! Just like that, and they heard me.
Oh, Jesus.
Focus on the girls. Just focus on the girls. They're in their underwear. Why are you paying attention over there? Look at the girls.
Oh, my God.
And then Miss Saigon.
Have you ever been in an audience with Patti LuPone and done that? She will call your ass
That's
out.
great. But I'm trying to facilitate a happy outcome by focusing on the girls. Now, my mom, who's passed away.
Okay.
So she never went to see a Broadway show. Oh. So she was diagnosed with renal cancer. It's a long time ago. Okay. So I figured, I'm going to cheer you up, Mom. Right. I was working at a different radio station. I got tickets for Miss Saigon.
Oh, okay.
Right up in the front again.
Talk about depressing.
Right. So I had no idea, all right? So I'm sitting in a row. My mom's next to me. We're watching the play. And at the end where she kills herself. I mean, if you don't know that by now.
Oh, you just gave it away. Oh,
yeah.
what?
Harry met Sally. They got married. So she shoots herself. And I looked at my mom, and I start busting up. And everybody's looking at me, and they're like, what's wrong with you? I go, I brought my mother here to cheer her up. She was just diagnosed with terminal cancer. And the whole thing, everybody starts to laugh because, that's situational humor, comedy that you just can't make up.
No.
And everybody's looking at me like, what is your problem? She just committed suicide.
Right.
They don't know, though.
But
the
this
whole
is your
story.
mom's first experience, and it's
I'm
the
trying
most
to cheer her
depressing
up.
show ever.
Yeah.
My gosh.
So there you go.
Well, let me just say one more plug.
Right,
one more thing. One more plug.
I just want to let it, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to
you've got your theater stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Tommy?
No, I have not.
Did you ever see Jersey Boys?
No, I didn't.
What is wrong with you?
Well, you really want to...
No, it's okay.
That'll take another episode.
I know.
Yeah. And a therapist to come in while we do that.
Did you see Billy Elliot?
No, I did not.
How about Aida?
No, I did not.
Wow.
No, listen, I'll tell you what I saw. Okay. All right? Wicked, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I thought the Green Witch was attractive.
Yeah, hey,
Okay.
Can
I tell you? Which
cosplay,
I saw, again, Full Monty.
Yes.
Don't need to see that again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I saw Chicago.
Great show.
I saw Anastasia.
Great show.
Especially because, Russian.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Hello, Dolly.
Yeah, great.
I think that's it.
Really?
And I always go to see the Rockettes front row center.
Well, of course you do. Yeah. Pay attention to the girls.
Pay attention to the girls. Exactly. So let's give the website one more time.
Yes, it's rockersonbroadway.com and or thepathfund.org. And the show is on November 11th.
My 20th anniversary.
It's
over on Bleecker Street.
That's right, on Bleecker Street, La Poisson Rouge.
And it's a good cause. Get their tickets before they're gone.
Yes, because we help kids, and it makes a huge difference. in people's lives. Thank you so much